taken 8 long years, but Deadpool finally has a sequel with Deadpool and Wolverine, and of course we have to talk about this. Hi, my name's Stu and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. Now, I've been looking forward to this film for quite some time. I love the first 2 Deadpool films. They are highly original, I find, and came at just the right time to make fun of all the superhero craze and all the stereotypes that we have in superhero films, etc, etc. At the same time, you know, it kept the Fox X-Men franchise alive, which I, well, overall didn't completely enjoy, but there are definitely some gems in there. I think that Days of Future Past is actually one of the best comic book films out there. Also, largely due to Hugh Jackman. I mean, it'll be difficult for someone to be as iconic as Hugh Jackman is for Wolverine. I mean, we've had a few, of course, in the MCU itself. You know, like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man or Chris Evans as Captain America, but it really is hard to beat Hugh Jackman. He's played this role so many times and he does it so well, which he absolutely proves in this film too. Getting a bit ahead of myself, we'll talk about that, of course, in a bit. But yes, I was really looking forward to this film. I'm not that into Wolverine and Deadpool comics, so I don't know which crossovers they have had in the comics, you know, to relate to them. But I was still looking forward to it. Just the whole build-up you've got in the first 2 Deadpool films, and always these references made to either Wolverine or Hugh Jackman, you know, so I thought this is going to be very special. And it really, really is. Now, shout out to my wife, by the way, before I forget, because I watched this on holiday, and luckily, because the 3 of us, her, my daughter and myself, we went to the cinema, and in order for me to go and see Deadpool and Wolverine, she had to make the big sacrifice of going to see Despicable Me 4 with my daughter. So, big shout out to her, great thank you for that. I mean, it's always a bit silly sitting in the cinema on your own, but I'm so happy that I got to see it on release day to avoid all the spoilers. It's also why I'm a bit late with this review, because I had to wait till coming back from holiday. But at least that's given me a chance to see the first week in the box office, and that's been amazing. The reception has been crazy. Deadpool and Wolverine has now got the biggest box office start of all time for any R-rated film ever. In America, it was like 205 million, I think. I think that was the estimate, so that wasn't the final number, but still, you know, 205 million. Worldwide, it was over 400 million, so that's really crazy. It is an R-rated film, don't forget that, you know. The previous record was held by the first Deadpool, so, you know, it's easily the best R-rated franchise out there. Absolutely deserving of it. I just hope it does have the legs, you know, it doesn't just completely drop out. Although word of mouth is really, really good on this film, so I am hoping that it will rake in a lot of money. It definitely deserves it. Anyway, as per usual, let's talk about the plot. I mean, there's not that much to talk about, but we'll talk about the plot. I'd rather want to talk about the other things. And I'll just very briefly at the end, just to give you a heads up, before I give the outro, I will briefly, hopefully briefly, discuss some of the spoilers, because there are obviously crazy things in this film. But this plot breakdown, at least, will be spoiler free, because I like to do it that way. What happens, Deadpool, just to give you the very, very brief thing, but you've seen the bits and pieces of this in the trailer as well, if you've seen that. Deadpool is, I'll call it contacted, it's putting it nicely, by the TVA, which is the Transport Variance Authority, I think it is, or agency, sorry. From the MCU, they usually do timeline stuff, low-key focused on this group quite a lot. They are, you know, they're reprimanding Deadpool for doing all sorts of timeline shenanigans. He is offered the opportunity because sorry, I'm getting kind of a bit ahead of myself. The basic gist is this. His universe has lost its anchor point, which was Wolverine. He died in Logan. Spoiler, but I mean, the film's been out for 7 years. If you haven't seen Logan, he dies in it. He was that universe's anchor point, right? He was lost, and now they're giving Deadpool, because he is a unique character and they can see his qualities because he wants to do better as well. They're offering him the chance to be in an alternate universe, you know, yeah, they're giving him this chance before his own universe is being completely eradicated. Deadpool doesn't accept this, instead, because he's got friends in his own universe, of course, he decides that the way he's going to do it or fix the problem is he's going to get the universe a new anchor point. And because it was Wolverine, his logic is he just needs a new Wolverine to establish a new anchor point. And that is basically what we see happening. So he goes through various alternate universes until he finds the Wolverine that he gets, let's call it that way. I mean, yeah, slightest spoiler, it's the worst Wolverine in existence, apparently in every single timeline. Is right, okay, but this is the guy, you know, this is all I've got, let's get it done. And, you know, this Wolverine is at a very low point. He tells him that, you know, if he helps him do this, then Deadpool can get the TVA to fix whatever went wrong in Wolverine's own world. So yeah, and then the two of them, in that sense, is a bit of a buddy cop film, if you like. Sort of. The two of them traveling along, trying to fix this problem so that, you know, these universes don't get raised, which is generally a good thing, of course. I mean, that's the whole point. Deadpool, he wants to do good things, right? He wants to be a good guy. Yeah, as you can imagine, Deadpool and Wolverine, they don't get on along too well with each other. And that is pretty much all I'll tell you about the plot. We've obviously got a lot of cameos in this film, as you can imagine, not just because it's a Deadpool film, but also because it is now officially in the MCU and we're talking about multiple universes and all these. As you can imagine, this really offers itself up to, yes, a lot of cameos and surprise appearances, which I'm not going to discuss right here, I will say. But yes, that's as much as I'll tell you about the plot. What makes this film work is just the dynamic between the two. Deadpool, of course, the merc with a mouth, is relentless and just blabbering on and on and on and on. Driving Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, you know, he's driving really to the brink of just exploding. And he does explode, you know, the rage. This is, by the way, if you enjoy Hugh Jackman as Wolverine when he's rageful, this is probably the best we've ever seen. I mean, he is just angry the whole film and it's glorious, it's beautiful. He does it so well. That's why I'm saying, even if you get actors to do and portray Wolverine well, I really doubt they'll ever be able to exceed. It's just not fair. It's not fair comparing them. Hugh Jackman does the best job ever, right? And he got shredded again, and oh, it's just crazy. But just the dynamic between the two, it carries the whole film. It's glorious, it's hilarious, it's brutal, it's R-rated, so we see some fights, we really also have them going up against each other. And it's wonderful. It's really, the punches, you really feel them. Yeah, so the action and stuff, the fight scenes are really on point. Hugh Jackman, like I say, just ferocious. I love him in this role. It's great. So this and Logan, I feel, is the best stuff he's done as Wolverine, you know. Even although I love Days of Future Past, but I would say these two are definitely the best he's done. Just really incredible stuff. That is amazing. Like I say, the humour is of course expected from Deadpool. It's great. You've got so many references. You know, if you're from the 90s, you'll get quite a few special ones too. It all works so well. It fits well into the MCU, so they managed to pull that off. At the same time, it's a nice homage to, you know, all the 20th Century Fox X-Men films, so because it's a sort of celebration of those as well, because they are now, you know, the sort of kind of part of the MCU, but at the same time we'll never see them again, basically, in that iteration. So it really pays tribute quite nicely. I'm really surprised that Marvel signed off on this film, but they obviously didn't want to leave money lying on the floor, because this film is going to make a ton of money. And it really, a lot of people are saying the MCU's back. It's a bit difficult to say. I mean, I would like to think that, but this is a very different film to what we're used to. It's also the very first R-rated MCU film, which is great, because I like them to, you know, that's what they need to branch out. Yes, just stop focusing on just doing your main storyline, or just the way you've always done it is the right way to do it. No, branch out, definitely, because it'll open up more freedom, you know, especially for directors and storytellers, I feel. So overall, it's a really great package. The only real criticism I have is I feel it goes on too long. It could have done with some editing, because it feels like we've got multiple villains, first of all, in this film. I'm not going to spoil them. And then it feels like even once, you know, we go through the journey for one, it's like we have to start over again. And then the second one also needs to be dealt with in pretty much the same way, where you go through a few stages, etc. It felt like, you know, it could have been a bit maybe just even have just one villain, I'm not sure, but it felt like there's just some fat that could have been trimmed here, because it felt like a point where there was about 15 minutes to go. I was like, you know, this could have been the end and it would have sat a little bit better with me. But you know, I mean, obviously, that being said, even in the final 15 minutes, there's so many cool things that happen. It's just, from a story perspective, I feel like it could have been trimmed down a bit. The comic fan in me, the geek, the one who loves the cameos, you know, I was like, please, hours more of this. Right, that's where I'll leave the non-spoiler thing, so go and watch it if you haven't seen it yet. It is glorious. If you've enjoyed the previous Deadpool films, if you like the X-Men franchise, or at least want to pay tribute to it, and you've seen pretty much all of the films, you will love this for references and all sorts of things, and just the glory of the two of them on screen together. It's wonderful. It really is a well done film, right? Now quickly to my spoilers. I don't want to spend ages and ages talking here, but right, spoiler warning here, right? So if you don't want any spoilers because you've not seen it, turn off now. You know, you can return later once you've seen it, of course. Thank you. But yeah, probably the biggest surprise for me, my jaw pretty much nearly physically dropped in the cinema. I couldn't believe Wesley Snipes as Blade Runner. I was like, of all the people, I was thinking, you know, who are they going to, because obviously they're going to bring out people. I was wondering the whole time, who are they going to bring? Never in a million years would I've guessed Wesley Snipes. I mean, that's so cool. Also because it's a callback to the third Blade film that Ryan Reynolds was in, you know, it's just, it's really crazy. I thought that was amazing with Elektra as well. I kind of thought that maybe Ben Affleck would be in it. I didn't even know that Elektra was popping back up, but even before then I thought, oh, Ben Affleck maybe, but then they had a joke referencing Ben Affleck. Probably also really great was Chris Evans. I mean, I know the guy's got humour. If you've seen Knives Out, you know that the guy, you know, really likes to have fun with his roles too. And I honestly believe that he was a variant of Captain America, because that's obviously how they play up. And never in a million years would I have guessed that they actually bring out Johnny Storm and have him there. Oh, that was so funny. I thought that was brilliant. The Fantastic Four, which of course was a Fox franchise. You know, it's nice that they're paying tribute, because it did come before and it did pave way for some of the things we have today, you know, and I haven't seen that film in a while. I do remember enjoying the first one, you know, so yeah, just love that. And there are just too many things to talk about. I mean, the silly NSYNC dance, you know, you've got so many crazy. I love the Furiosa reference. I loved Furiosa, you know, it kind of hurt because I'm like, you know, this film, it really bombed at the box office. Glorious film, by the way, if you can watch Furiosa. But at the same time, I loved the references to it. I thought it was just so great. Yeah, but just to clarify also what I meant by the villains, I didn't like that we first of all had, you know, Professor X's evil twin, which was fine, but then you also have the TVA thing, with that being something that needs to be resolved at the end, although we had the big showdown with her already. You know, I've just felt like that was a bit much. They could have done without that. Gambit, of course, is amazing. Channing Tatum always wanted to make a Gambit film, never got it off the ground. It's brilliant seeing him in that. It's so funny. I just loved the whole thing. I thought it was great. You know, having X-23 back from Logan was a nice homage to that film as well, besides obviously all the references in the film. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things. I wasn't a big fan, I'll be honest, I wasn't too big fan of all the Deadpool scenes. I mean, yeah, it's funny, etc. But, you know, that particular scene, except from the action itself, didn't really do that much for me. That's maybe more for the comic fans, I get that. I also wasn't a big fan of Dogpool. Again, I get why it's funny, but I was like, meh. You know, just didn't do a lot for me. But, you know, this is very personal to me. Love it, you know, if in some way it's possible, I would love to have them back as a team, because like I say, them playing off each other, and like I say, Hugh Jackman, just incredible. And that Henry Cavill cameo was just perfect, the Cavallerine, I just loved that so much. Anyway, I'll stop here because there's so many other things I could talk about. Watch it, just watch it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've seen it, you know, and you're watching the spoilers here because of that, hope you loved those scenes just as much as I did. I can't wait to see the film again, you know, once it's out on home media. I really, really need to dig into it again, just to see, probably missed some things even, just to have a look at it. Anyway, that'll be all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below about anything you want to say about Deadpool Wolverine. If you do post spoilers, please, you know, maybe just make a wee note to let people know that you are going to post spoilers. You know, I'd appreciate that. I'll thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one on Flying Wiener. Take care.